Greetings. Here we are again, the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council for C-Suite Network. So glad you're here. My goodness, give yourself a little pat on the back, some sparkle fingers, whatever works for you. This is an accelerator. This is an opportunity for us to talk about getting great clients now. What do we need to do to have more great clients in the number of clients that we really want? You know, we can be a little like Goldilocks. We can have a little too many and a little too few. Let's have the right amount, okay? And because you are in our council, we know that, guess what? You get to say how it goes, okay? So we're gonna have a conversation about who do we need to become, what do we need to do, and what are the specific next steps to having great clients. So if you'd like to have more great clients, give me a little sparkle here, a little heart, whatever works. Yes, 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 yes. Because we want a practice and a business that's at the right size for us. So we can have a lot of free time. We can have freedom, flexibility. We can do the work that we're called to do, but we're not like chained to our business, okay? That's not the purpose here. Okay, so let me jump in. I just want to share a couple quick slides with you. And let's set the context here because, you know, I love to do that. Okay. And so grateful that you're here because we want to get your voice in the room on this. Each of us has a tremendous opportunity here. And so if I have one outcome that is my intention for our time together, whether you're here in person, you're watching the broadcast, the response to this has been phenomenal on LinkedIn. So I thank you for that. It's the idea that we get to say how our business goes. We get to have the most expansive business that we want. We can involve partners. We can invite sisters, brothers, whatever we want into our business because we as business owners, as coaches, consultants, trusted advisors, and thought leaders, we get to say how it goes, okay? You being in charge of what it means to have great clients is the key here. And we have a global business, ladies, so this is very, very powerful. I'm Kathleen Caldwell, founder of our council. I'm a speaker, author, trusted advisor, and thought leader myself. And I'm so grateful to C-Suite Network because I get to amplify my message. I get to bring women into our business sisterhood, and I get to celebrate and showcase each of you. So with that, I'm so grateful. So if you're watching the recording and you're not part of our council, come join us. Apply to be part of our council. We've got a very special sisterhood going on here. So come join us. Yeah, thank you. And, you know, to set the context, what is really true now is that it's a very crowded place. Jamie Dimon, CEO of Chase, just said in the last 3 days that he was preparing his company for an economic storm. He's changed his tune today, and he has also said, Jamie Dimon, thought leader, very good leader, whatever you think about him personally, not the issue, but as a thought leader, he's taken a stand, and he's now saying he's preparing his company, he's preparing the markets, that it's going to be an economic hurricane. Okay, so he's gone from a storm to a hurricane. And the bottom line is it's creating a lot of turmoil. People in corporate, many are leaving corporate for the safe haven of a business. And we all know there aren't any great safe havens in business, right? That's kind of a funny little paradox there. But there's more competition than ever before on LinkedIn and in the world. You know, people can leave corporate, and because they've had a corporate coach or an executive coach, they often, bless them, they feel qualified that, hey, I can be a coach because it's an alluring thing, right, ladies? We make it look so easy, don't we? We make it look so great. And so no wonder people want to join us as a coach consultant. So there are millions and millions of people that are in our space. But the bottom line is there's only one of us. And right now in the world, there's a lot of crazy things going on. There's a lot of turmoil, economic uncertainty, war in Europe. My goodness, I mean, I don't even want to spend another minute thinking about all of the things that are happening. But why I bring this up is that our clients are dealing with this, okay? they're dealing with all this and they need a safe haven. They need a lighthouse to look to. They need a person who is there that's going to help them develop a philosophy on living and to be in a mastermind, a council of other philosophers. They need to develop their own course. They need to have a passive and an active sense of financial certainty. They need to be as a wonderful female executive. They want to have a great coach to be able to turn to give them that solid footing. So if you're watching the broadcast, distinction number one, if you'd like to write this down, is in order to be you want great clients, you got to be a great coach. You've got to be a great trusted advisor. You've got to be great yourself. Okay. So if you're in the storm with them, you're not serving them. In order to get great clients, you've got to be a great coach. And with this also is, we can't put our head in the sand. We've got to know what's going on. I read the Wall Street Journal. I read 3 papers a day online. Okay, I skim for the yucky news, but I'm also really clear about what I need to know, because as a safe haven, a harbor, a lighthouse for my clients and my community, I've got to know what's going on so I can be objective. The same with you. In order to get great clients, you've got to be a safe haven. You've got to know what's going on in the world. You've got to be informed, and you've got to be a leader. Okay. So with that, and we're going to turn over to our esteemed faculty here in a moment, is, the great book, Blue Ocean Strategy, is more relevant than ever before, because the waters now, we've got to move out into safe water and bring our clients with us. Okay. Great clients want to move out there. Great clients want to come and swim out with you in these beautiful blue oceans. They don't want to be out there, in the bloody oceans, as the Blue Ocean Strategy talks about. They want to be in smooth sailing. And I must tell you, when it comes to great clients, the clients are nicer out there in the Blue Ocean Strategy. They're a lot more fun to work with. They're full paying, prompt paying, great cooperative clients that work with you and their partners. So that's what we want. Okay. And you can do that, attracting more great clients, by being the unique you that is only you. Okay. So in our 4-day accelerator for Great Clients Now, we're going to talk about what do we need to be doing, who do we need to be attracting, and how do we need to do it. And then, of course, I always say when. Well, now is the time. Okay. So you're going to leave here today with actionable strategies on what to do. Okay. So I could use a little assistance in sisterhood I always love definitions. I love words, but let's define the adjective great. So who would love to read a dictionary.com definition for me? It's a long one. Who'd like to jump in and do that?
I'll do it.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you.
Okay, great. Adjective. Markedly superior in character or quality. Remarkably skilled. Marked by enthusiasm. Synonyms. Accomplished, adept, consummate, educated, experienced, expert, good, masterful, practiced, proficient, skilled, skillful, versed, veteran, virtuoso, and so on.
Wow. A lot of great words to describe great, right? Yeah. So the question is, for each of you, your definition of a great client is unique to you, because you know what you're building here in your company. You're building a culture, you're building a community, you're building relationships. So step number 1 in our accelerator quest is to stop and think about, how am I defining a great client? Okay, because if we're thinking we're a great coach, consultant, trusted advisor, thought leader, and everyone around the world is our client, we're not going to be very successful, are we? So we've got to get in and define what is a great client for us. And so to be that lighthouse in the storm, we've got to know who are the boats out there, who are the fishermen and fisher women out there that need to know who we are. And to have that light on is who's looking for us and who are we looking for. And of course, I love this graphic because what we're going for here is that beautiful Japanese state of ikigai, is that we're blending what we love to do, what the world needs, what we can get compensated and paid for, what we're good at, and bringing our mission, our passion, our profession and vocation all together into that sweet spot. And great clients know us when they see us, they hear us, and they know us. It reduces the need for convincing, cajoling, convincing, and all those kinds of things. It's like it's a match made in heaven. Okay, so we're going for that ikigai kind of business. And I'm going to jump over this slide for just a moment, but curious from each of you, and I'm going to turn it back to gallery view. Great clients. You saw Christina read the definition of great clients. I'm curious for each of you, what does it mean to you? Who are you going for? Who is a great client to you? And also, who is not a great client? Okay, so maybe if you want to take a moment, jot some things down. What's your criteria for a great client?
I'll jump in.
Please, thank you, Kathy. Let me stop the sharing here. Yeah, great clients, yes. Thank you.
So yes, so to me, great clients are ones that appreciate your work and understand your value. And they're here because they want to work with you.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons I got out of my corporate job, because I had no control over who was my client. I had to take whoever they sent at me. And some of them, it was like babysitting. And they were petty with the silliest little things and clearly had no appreciation of anyone's time or what was involved or how irrelevant their question even was. And so, yes, the ones that appreciate your time, appreciate what you bring, understand your value, and want to be there with you.
Excellent. Excellent. I think we can all agree that is fantastic. Yes, thank you. We're going to have more of our sisters jumping in the room here. Yes, thank you. Kathy, beautiful. And so with your own business, you get to say how it goes and you get to work with great clients. Yes. So let's continue going around the room. How are you all defining a great client for you?
So a lot of the characteristics of what I want in terms of the people that come into my council are more psychographic things. Like a lot of times, people are like, well, what kinds of, people are you looking for? People like technical people, CEO, like there's all these labels. So for me, I kind of tend to remove those, and it's more my requirements are must have an open mind, must be willing to be intellectually stimulated, and must be willing to enjoy conversation. And so that's where I've really kind of narrowed it down. And it's actually helped me because I know it when I see it. When I encounter, like I know it when I encounter a person that fits these requirements.
Excellent, Christina. Excellent. Yes. So it really helps you with what you said, Christina and Kathy, is what are our requirements? How are we defining great clients? And, to have a boundary and a barrier and almost, an application process that not everyone is our client, and nor should everyone be our client. And, how many of you have had the experience where you took on a client and you knew darn, why did I do that? I really wish that and you had regrets afterwards. And perhaps you were a little relieved that it was only a 3 to 6 month contract. Anybody relate to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
just want to say hi to Latonia.
Hi,
Is that how you say your
Latonia.
name?
Yes, it's Latanya. How are you? And
Latanya. Hi,
Latonia. Hi,
welcome.
dear. So glad you're here. Thank you.
thank you for allowing me to be here. And hello to you, Nancy. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you again. Yeah.
Thank you. Great. We're glad you're here. We are engaging in a conversation about defining great clients for us. Yes. So we'll want to get your point of view. So defining a great client, and then also we're going to move over to a conversation about who is not a great client, who's not a great client. Okay. So we know them when we see them, and we also know we can anticipate the red flags. Okay. Yeah. Because not all clients are great clients. Okay. I also do believe that the Pareto principle of the 80-20 rule comes into play here, that 20% of your clients could be considered great clients. 80%, maybe you could say, are good clients, or maybe you have 20% really great, and hopefully the 20% really great and 80% great. Wouldn't that be super? Yeah. Yeah. So Nancy, Latanya, your thoughts on great clients?
Well, it's certainly what's already been said. And I think there's, kind of tying into, they understand the value, they want to work with us, and they have the ability to invest. There's some people, they're wonderful people, but they don't have the ability to invest.
Yes.
I would
Yes.
agree with that.
Yes.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yes.
I have found that, and so let me just take a quick step back. I am the president and owner of Talent Mix Solutions, which is a staffing, recruiting, and HR consulting firm. And so when I was building my business, I worked with a business coach, and she shared with me, the minimum type of revenue you're going to need to be targeting to really find your ideal clients. But when you are connected in certain places and you get referrals and you ask these questions, and I found that even taking the time to go through the phone call, when you already kind of have an idea that this may not be the right client for you, because while they may have good intentions, they really just don't have the financial investment. But you take them on as far as having the conversation and taking the time to really understand their needs, and then just really sharing with them that you're not a good fit for them, but just really understanding also some of the questions I like to ask is, have you worked with a staffing firm or HR consulting firm in the past? What has been your experience? And just kind of, here's how we work, does this make sense for you financially? And when I kind of know it doesn't make sense for them financially, I let them know, here's some other options for you. I find that clients can appreciate that, and you can help to maintain and build a relationship and also get additional referrals. But really just identifying kind of their revenue base is really helpful. Their experience and working in the past with the type of client that they're seeking to look to do, and even if they haven't, and if they have the financial capacity, because I've also experienced that they have the financial capacity, but really, I'm someone that in my work, I really do take care, and I want to be intentional because my reputation is on the line. And so when I'm bringing, top tier candidates to be matched with your organization, I need to make sure that your organization is an organization that they can truly thrive in. Because if we can get them in the door and then they're going to leave 30 days, 90 days or more later, I need for you to understand that you have a problem, and let's try to address it from that perspective. So let's look at the talent strategies. And then I'm not here to just waste your money or your time, because I don't want mine's wasted. Right. So, I'm just, helping to, ask the right questions up front, really just determines, and everyone knows that, I know here, but sometimes you kind of know it, you still go through with it, and you kind of got to dial it back. Yes. just to make sure that you're really engaging with the right customer before you go all the way.
Fantastic.
It's so
Great
important.
points. Yes. And bringing up so many good points there, LaTanya. Great clients, it's one thing, I think that great clients, it's a dating process. Sometimes they look great and it's a great first coffee date, but then when we get closer to the altar, things come up. And, again, we're humans, we're not perfect. They're not perfect, that type of thing. But if we're creating a practice, a business with great clients, knowing the criteria of what we're looking for, of who we're looking for. And, I'm also curious about determining the qualifications, so to speak, they have qualifications themselves, but what also thinking about your qualifications. So I'd like to turn the conversation over to us as a whole is, what are your qualifications, your non-negotiables when it comes to a great client? Pay on time, right? Show up, do the work, right? Be open to coaching. And of course, all these things are in our agreements as well, of course. Great clients could also be clients that refer us, do a testimonial for us, show up consistently, be in communication. So all of these are in my agreements as well. But I'm curious for each of you, how do you then, it's the beingness of being a great client. What are the non-negotiable things for you when it comes to a great client?
So because my work is in a group dynamic, my, criteria or my requirement may be a little bit different, but first of all, there's no hiding in Philosopher's Council. There's no hiding. Like when you are there, you're present. And I have some rules: no phone, no looking, no multitasking. You're present. You're either listening or you're contributing. And that's a requirement. There's no interrupting. There's no, like I have a code, actually. There's like a code of conduct. Like there's no interrupting, there's no judgment of other people's ideas. I have a very, very diverse group politically, professionally, and so there will be times where there's a severe, like serious, like philosophical difference in how people view the world. This is important for the group to function, but also, there's no grandstanding, there's no condescending, there's no judgment, there's no posturing allowed in my group. So for me, the requirements have to do with how people can interact in a place that's like inclusive and safe and open to ideas, no matter how different they may be. So those are my sort of non-negotiables.
And of course, they know about these things, and great clients participate voluntarily communicate and stay in communication with you on these, right, Christina? Yes.
That's correct. I mean,
yes.
There have been times where things have gotten a bit tense.
Yes.
And we work through it. And actually, that's the feedback that I got is I like that my ideas are being challenged. I like that, some things are coming to the surface that I didn't realize before, or whatever that is. So because that's the mindset that I require
That's it.
in order to be in my group.
That's it. Yes. And last evening on our Women's Success Accelerator group call, we had a very intense conversation and discussion about tolerations. What are we tolerating? And one of the things was tolerating is clients that we thought were great, but then end up not being so great. And we're putting up with stuff. And, client issues, client challenges, client situations, part of business, but where's the threshold? Where's the threshold? And so examining, what's the thing that we're tolerating around not having great clients. Yes. Thank you, Christina. Yeah. Nancy, please.
There's always that line around wanting to help people, but you can't, you can't, there's certain things that they have to do for themselves.
Yeah.
Or, I have somebody that I'm working with who is very technically challenged. And kind of came to the point of being able to say, you either need to hire a virtual assistant to handle this type of work for you, or you need to take some classes and learn how to do it yourself. I can't take on this administrative load. That's just not in my, it takes away from my being able to really advise you on your curriculum when what you send me, I can't work with.
Right.
And I felt, kind of, trying to say it, but not to come across as too harsh. So I think there's like sort of that, I think it's what are the boundaries that you need to establish with people, without being a jerk.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And the relationship first, I think great clients, the relationship is primary. And how can we be straight with each other and communicate when things go wrong? I think so many times people, in my experiences, we've got agreements and contracts and things that are, here's what we agreed to do. But then, the agreements on, hey, listen, if it goes sideways or things don't work out, how are we going to still maintain the relationship and be straight with each other? Nancy, thank you. Yeah. It pulls us down if we're not able to accomplish what we want to accomplish with the client because of these other circumstances, right?
And I'm finding, because I'm helping people with projects because they're working to create a course. And so, and I had things set up, this much at this interval, this much, kind of spaced out. But if they, what I think is going to take a month, takes 2 months, 3 months, so I'm almost thinking of putting in some sort of a provision around, this is the payments are due in this interval, like if it's instead of tying it to a phase, because it's not like I have to produce a deliverable. If I have to produce a deliverable, then I can say, and that's what I had to like flip my thinking. If I'm producing the deliverable, I can say 25% here, 25% here, because I have more control.
Right.
But when I'm coaching people to create a course and they're producing the deliverables, it's a whole other story. I may never get paid. So
we learn over time, don't we?
So I have to kind of change that to be, it's going to be, it's that, this is the payment schedule. If it takes longer for you to get the work done, that's okay. But I have to just for me to be able to have my income be more predictable with the coaching group. Or I think working with people in groups is way better than coaching somebody one-on-one to create a program, unless they're really committed and really driven and they're ready to get it done. I'm going to write a book, so I'm going to put this aside for, okay. Okay. Yeah. So other things. So I do think people get into trying to do it and they realize that it's not as easy as they thought it was going to be. So I think there's this like, oh man, I just thought I would write stuff down and be done. And then we get into it and there's more thinking that has to go into it. So I'm kind of trying to balance out what the best approach is.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. And great clients, we know them when we have them and we know them when we don't. And so, the question that I'd also like to ask is, Kathy, if you'd like to share, Latanya, you'd like to share too, is great clients, is it nurture or nature? You know, is it that great clients, are they just born, or do we have to coach them along to be great clients?
I
Your
think
thoughts?
the combination,
Okay.
Yes.
because like with the work that I do, they come to me for a transformation, for a shift in where they're at and where they know they want to be. But to do that, they have to be willing and allow themselves to think of other options, to step into what could be a reality for them. So if they're not willing to open their minds and allow themselves to even think about what if, or maybe this, or like outside of their normal situation, then we can't get anywhere. So with some people, they are naturally able to open and move forward, but quite often they're not the people that are looking for help. So a lot of the people that are looking for the help are the ones that don't naturally open up to new ideas. So yeah, so that part does need to be encouraged and coaxed, and even just examples and role models and things. I mean, like you often hear that it's hard for us to imagine a different reality for ourselves if we've never seen it. If we have never seen somebody living it, being it, doing it, it's hard to imagine it for ourselves. So I think that's part of my role, is making that real. But they have to have that willingness to allow themselves to step into something else.
I like that, being
I would
willing.
agree. I would agree. You know, when I'm working with clients, and I'm working with a client that I think is really good so far, and I had the opportunity to kind of date them prior to the engagement. And so I knew that they would be a good client. So once we got into the engagement, it was very good. They were kind of asking for some things, like little administrative things. And one thing about me, I try to manage the expectations. And so I was like, this is going to be a lot. It was simple things like, you know, can we meet like every week, get a status update, and, you know, different things like that. So we already had a lot of meetings to schedule because I'm helping them to build out their diversity, equity, inclusion strategy. And so we've gotten to that part already. We're now like we just gone into the third month here. And so I knew as part of that, we have to take you through phases, and that requires meetings. So I already knew that they had a small team. They don't have like a full HR department. So I knew it was already going to be a lot for them. So I said, not to tell the client, no, I said, well, sure, how about we meet, you know, every other week, and then like every week during the first month, and then every other week, the second and third month, just to manage the expectations. And during the first meeting, they said, oh my goodness, I didn't take into consideration, you know, all of the other things that we were going to be doing, even though we had ran through them. But once you actually now see it, and you look at your schedule, in addition to this new engagement, it's a lot. I already knew that because I've been on both sides. We all have. So, you know, I wanted to, you know, manage those expectations for them. And so I said, it's not to worry. You know, I'm here and I'm available for you, you know, in between sessions. And so, you know, anytime that you want to get on a call, it's no worries. You're traveling, I'm traveling. And I just knew that it was going to be a lot, but just simple things like that. So you do still have to coach and kind of help to manage the expectations. And it can still be a wonderful engagement, and you can still, you know, overmeet their expectations. But I do think, you know, some are born naturally, and some you do have to kind of coach along. I just want to, you know, I remember when I was in corporate and I worked with consultants, I always tried to be a great client. And when I received the invoices, I immediately reviewed them, signed off on them, and sent them over to corporate. That was to corporate accounting. That's one thing I prided myself on, is making sure that when consultants sent me their bills, they got paid on time. So now I'm on the other side. I expect the same, but I try, and you can give, you know, to bad clients, you can be a good coach or consultant and still get bad in return. But I think you have to treat people how you want to be treated, and you have to manage the relationship and not let the relationship manage you. And you have to remind consultants, your clients, that this is a partnership. I'm an extension. I like to say I'm an extension of my clients, team, but this is a partnership. And so one of my expectations is I need for you to show up and do the work, because if you're not willing to be intentional and do the work, then we can't get anything done. And so I'm very observant of the type of teams and the structures they have, so I can manage my expectations to that and be able to support them fully.
Beautiful.
Because, we know that different organizations are set up, just of various sizes. And I've been in a large organization, and where we work in a lean environment where we have very small teams and we have so much. So I get it, and I understand what it's like, to work in a very, very lean team and doing a lot of work and putting out a lot of output. But I also know when you're not used to that, just how overwhelming it can be.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Such great points there. Very, very nice. LaTanya, you brought up so many good things. And one of the things that I'm hearing as a takeaway is, as a guide, mentor, coach, expert, thought leader, trusted advisor, we've got to keep communicating with them. We've got to set the expectations about what it means to be a great client. And also, this brings up our next point, and I'll pop on the slide here, is, for us. And so one of our takeaways today is, and going into tomorrow, is for us to take a little time, like literally when we're done with our call here, I would highly recommend take a few moments and you determine for yourself, define for yourself, who is a great client, the characteristics that you're looking for, and make sure in your qualification process, your discovery calls, everything that you're doing, that you really name these things. And you might even, in some of your marketing on your website, define, hey, a great client for us is this kind of person, the psychographics, the behaviors, the mindset, the deliverables, all those things. But also, as we go on, the bigger question too is who, and LaTanya, you brought this up, is so beautiful, is who do you need to become to serve more great clients? Who do you need to become? Because we can be expecting these things, we can have great engagements, but we've also, in order to be worthy, quote unquote, of the great clients that we're seeking, who do we need to become in all this? So I'd love to pause for a moment, and we're just going to keep going after this. But, a great question is, who do we need to become? Because today is all about the being part of it. And then tomorrow we're going to move into the doing part of it. But if we're not clear, who is that great client? And they're a great client because this is the criteria, and this is the value proposition. Here's the offer. Here's what the deliverables are, and here's how we deliver them, and the great client agrees to that. And then here's what you can expect from me as a great coach, consultant, trusted advisor, thought leader. So who do you need to be in order to attract that great client? Thoughts?
Are you asking for thoughts on this?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No. I was just getting clarity. Are you asking for thoughts on who do we need to be?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Who you need to be. Yeah. Who do you need to be? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is kind of a radical idea for me, which is, it's not necessarily what do I need to become, it's what I need to be less of.
Excellent.
So I feel that I need to be less needy for attention and accolades and stamps of approval, and to be more, I'll define this in a second, but not need to be more attractive and seductive, not in a sexual sense, but in the sense of maybe a little less available, where there's a little bit more of a respect me and my acumen and my background, and no, I don't need to chase you. And I feel like if I am less needy, desperate, chasing, like, you know, falling over the floor because somebody actually wants to take a call with me, whatever, and more like stepping into, no, I am really great at what I do. I'm one of the very few people in the world that do what I do, and you get to talk to me. You know, you get to maybe be considered working with me. And it sounds really radical, but you have to understand where I've come from and what I've had to work through in order to be able to get to this kind of idea. And so I feel like that's something I want to explore, is a natural authority that isn't so like sycophantic with people.
You know, as you were talking, a word that came to mind to me was intriguing.
Yes. Yes.
Even magnetic.
Yes. That's it. That's it.
I always kind of like to compare it like the hunter-gatherer kind of comparison. So like you're describing earlier was more of that lack mentality and that I need to go get them hunter kind of thing. Whereas, yes, I think many of us need to step away from that and focus more on just, Christine, like you were saying, acknowledging that this is what I'm offering. This is the value I'm bringing. Those that want it, come and see me. Rather than a hunting lack mentality of I got to go find more. I've got to hold on to whatever I get. I got to, even if this one's not perfect, I got to hold on to it because that's all I got. And yes, I guess we have to honor our own value and hold on to it so others value it too.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, yes, yes. And isn't the saying that who you are being speaks so loudly that we can't hear your marketing messages or your website messages or your webinars or your shiny offer, all that. Yeah. So who you're being. Yes, yes. And perhaps I love what you said, Christina, maybe we need to be less of something instead of always focusing in on the pressure of being more of something.
Because the need to be more can imply not being enough.
Absolutely perfect. Yeah, absolutely. And it's draining too, isn't it? Yeah, it's just draining. It's absolutely draining. Be everywhere, do everything, all these kinds of things.
And it also takes you off focus.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. Yes, yes. And one of the things we explored last night on our call talking about boundaries is the paradox of being less helpful. And the paradox also of, we're going to talk about this more tomorrow, is that having more clients and more great clients sometimes prevents us and gets some of us in a little bit of a freak out mode. I know that it got me in a freak out mode years ago because I equated more clients with less freedom. With more clients meant less time for me. More clients meant grabbing and time and, almost like, the zombie apocalypse, clients coming out of it. And I had to really work through that because I did not have strong boundaries in my business. So more great clients means stronger boundaries. Saying no and meaning it and understanding why we're saying no. And not apologizing. Yes. So Kathy, LaTanya, what's your perspective on who do we need to be more of or be less of to have great clients? Your thoughts?
So I can go if it's okay with Kathy.
Yes. Yeah, that's great.
I would say for me, I'm a big proponent of organization structure with flexibility.
Yes.
So if you provide structure and organization and you're rigid, I will just completely shut down. However, I know that structure and organization is required and necessary because it provides, stability in some form of foundation. And when you're talking to leaders, and if you don't bring them along in an organized and structured manner, they just simply may not find you credible and just simply will not want to work with you. And I can tell you that when I look back after working with this existing client, that is some of the key things that they constantly mention to me. They say, you are so organized, and we just love how you package your presentations together when you're delivering and facilitating your meetings with us. It's just packaged so nicely. And it was just really great to hear. But all the other thing that we need to do is always ask for feedback. We can't be afraid to ask for feedback, because as the expert who is advising, coaching, and consulting others, we do need to make sure from our clients that we have delivered and we have provided a great experience for them, regardless if they're great clients or being a-holes. We need to get that feedback. And for those clients who are really difficult, and when you're asking for feedback, you'll know that, this is not truly feedback. This is you just kind of really being nitpicky and just difficult. And you will need to know how to manage and communicate, to their expectations, so they really understand how this truly works and what you can expect from me and what I need from you. But from those, engagements that are going well and both sides gets it, I pride myself on taking time to constantly ask for feedback after a session, in between meetings, just to make sure if they needed more, something was missing, they rather have less of something, et cetera, et cetera. So those are the things that I do now that I think that, for me works well, and I would continue to do.
Yes.
But boundaries are very, very important. And something that you and Christina has spoke to about maybe providing too much information. I know as part of this engagement, in the beginning, they wanted, they were looking at a number of different services.
Right.
But then wanted to kind of have not such a lengthy engagement, which is absolutely fine. And they wanted to prioritize some of the things that they were looking for. But what they wanted to start with, I was like, you need this to start.
Right.
So
Right.
as part of,
Right.
so they didn't have that as part of the priority.
Yes.
So I wind up giving it to them as a bonus, but in a
Yes.
very short version. So I said, here's this tool for you to start. I drafted it and everything. You can have it. But I wanted them, since they were going to do it themselves internally, I wanted them to just take the tool. You already got it. Now all you have to do is just go back to your leaders within your committee, and then you all kind of run through it, tweak it, because there were some other things that you needed to build out. I provided the resources and some samples for you.
Yes.
But then they came back and wanted me to run through it and facilitate it to their larger group. So what I said was, okay, I will quickly just do it on a virtual 1-hour call with a small group. But when it came to the larger presentation as to the larger deliverable that I was required to do as part of the engagement, I told them I would incorporate it, but I went back and clarified.
Scope
said,
creep, Latanya.
Right.
Scope creep.
I said, this was provided to you as a bonus.
Yes.
They said, well, what do you mean as a
Yes.
bonus? I said, this wasn't part of the deliverable.
Yes.
That's what I
Scope
mean.
creep.
You said, you indicated that you did not want this.
Right.
However, this is the foundation of what you need. And so many people start without it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
a charter, just so you all know, it was a charter document. I said, so many
Right.
people start without this. And then when you're talking about inviting leaders to be a part of what you're doing,
Yes.
no one understands what the mission is, what
Yes.
the purpose is, the goals, and the responsibilities of the committee and of the leaders.
Right.
And I said, if you build this out first and then identify the leaders, that's the proper structure that you will have, and it will set you up for success.
Beautiful.
But okay, you're still in the growing phases. Do this as part of the work. So they said they were going to go back and do it internally as a bonus and as a good faith, them being a great client. I provided the tool, but I need you all to do the work. It's not for my,
Right.
not my work to do, because
Right.
it's not part of the engagement. So it's
Communicating that.
Yeah.
And I had to
We're
go
gonna
back.
keep moving on here. Yeah.
And I had to go back and re-clarify. I said, listen, this is a bonus, but what we can do is we can incorporate it into the presentation.
Yes.
I said, but you will need to have leaders from your committee who are delivering and presenting on this particular work. And I said, I can be there to support you,
Sure.
as far as the elements. So once I clarified that, they were okay.
Yes.
But
That's
yeah,
good.
So real life experience,
Ooh.
scope creep, and communication and getting agreement at every stage. Great example there. Really great. Yes. So as we complete our time, and this is an accelerator, 4-day accelerator program, the theme today is great clients. And the scope is let's define who is a great client for us. What are they doing? How are they acting? What are all the characteristics of that great client? And then also for us, who do we need to be to attract and retain those great clients? And then our final question here, because we're going to end right at the top of the hour, as we always do, keeping it tight and concise here, ladies, loving it, is looking at, then of course, who do we need to be as their trusted advisor? And of course, what do we need to do? Okay. So when we see a client situation going a little sideways, all it is just an opportunity to clarify, an opportunity to get back in communication and to be able to clarify, engage, and get the understanding again. But with that solid foundation of the relationship, we can do it. So who do you need to be? And what do you need to do to serve more great clients? Okay. Or do less of. Okay. So our accelerator between today and tomorrow, kind of the field work that I'd love to offer, is an opportunity again to think about how are you defining your great clients? Who are they? And who do you need to be and become more of or less of to be able to attract, retain, and serve these great clients? Okay. So with that, we'll complete our time together. We always end in the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council that now more than ever, the world needs our light, needs you and your light. We have a great opportunity to shine it now, sisters. We've got to go ahead and do that. And, I love one of my early mentors, Zig Ziglar. Love this man. Rest in peace. He said such a famous quote is, you can have everything in life that you want if you just help enough other people to get what they want. Okay. We don't have to, as Trisha Ben says, we don't have to boil the ocean, but who are the people that we're meant to serve, and let's serve them. Okay. So questions about what's next, feel free. Book me on Calendly. Would love to have a 30-minute conversation with you about your business, your thought leadership, and how we can expand that within our council and beyond. So Kathleen Caldwell on Calendly, book a one-on-one conversation with me. And just curious, and we could bottom line it, what's your biggest takeaway from our time together? And if you feel called, what's your next step? So like literally in one sentence, what's your biggest takeaway and what's your next step? Just curious. I want to know that today was a good use of our hour here. Who'd like to jump in?
And clarification, just getting clear, because that's something that we often we get clear and then we stray off, and we need to get reminded to come back and get clear again.
That's it. Thank you, Kathy. Great. Yeah. Clarity. Excellent. Love that. Who's next? Biggest takeaway. Yeah. Thank you.
I just love that we're normalizing this conversation around clients. I think a lot of times we're either afraid or to just be open and honest that we want more clients, or, you know, that it's hard to get clients. And I just think it's time to be open and honest about it so that we can help each other out, because there's, you know, and also for me, the whole idea of normalizing this conversation through this accelerator also helps me to be impervious to the 10x narrative around, you know, like get a gazillion clients with this funnel, which we're all susceptible to these messages. And I think that getting good clients is an art form.
Oh, yes.
And not a formula.
Yes.
And I think that, I know for me, I have fallen into the trap of being sold on a formula and it not working out for me, not because I didn't do the work, but because maybe the work of getting good clients is not formulaic. And I just need to find out what kind of artist I am in that activity. So that's kind of what's coming to mind around this.
Brilliant, Christina. Brilliant, Kathy. Love it. Nancy and LaTanya, takeaway, big picture takeaway from our time together. Thank you.
I think one of the things on my mind is to how do I want to show up, and how will I show up?
Love it. Love it. Yeah.
So that I can attract the right.
Love it. Yeah.
Check all kinds of things.
Brilliant. That was one of the takeaways. Yeah, that's really great. Yeah. And maybe it's not doing more of, maybe it's doing less of.
Well, and I've had to do less the last week.
Yeah.
Physically, I haven't had a choice. I've had to do less. And I'm surprised that I'm not like freaking out, that I'm very calm. I'm so damn tired, I have no other choice but to be calm.
Yeah, beautiful. Great.
And
Nancy.
I would just say, just the importance of setting and managing expectations from a consultant and a client perspective. That is something that needs to constantly be done and throughout the engagement. And it's just very important, from really understanding the type of client that you want to work with, and helping clients understand if you are the type of consultant or coach that they want to work with, and being able to say no, and knowing that that's okay.
Yeah. Beautiful. Ladies, this was a quest and a masterclass. Thank you so much. Loved every second of it. I love each of you, your contributions. Gorgeous. Thank you.
Kathy, did we get your takeaway?
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Thank you. It's a journey, not a destination. Great clients. It's a journey, not a destination. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for asking. Good. So tomorrow we'll be back, same time, same Batwoman station and channel, 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific, 1 hour in and out. We're going to continue our quest, talking about now the doingness. We've been being today. Tomorrow's the doingness. Okay. Have a beautiful evening. Lots of love to you. Spread the
Bye.
word.
Nice meeting you, Latanya.
Thank
Thank
you.
Bye.
ladies as well.
Glad you're here.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Have a good
Thank
evening.
you.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.